Hi, this is Pamela Riemenschneider. I'm the retail editor for Blue Book Services, and I have Greg Johnson, our director of media development. And we are both back in the office for the Produce Reporter Week in Review. And Greg, story hit this morning, and it's already really smoking hot. California avocados look like they're going to be out of the market by when?
Probably by August 1st. I chatted this week with Tom Bellamore, CEO of the California Avocado Commission, and he said at the pace they're going, which is about 10 million cartons a week being shipped out of California, at the pace they're going, they only have just above 50 million cartons left for the season. And then we started talking about whether or not growers might hold some back for later in the summer. And, he didn't want to straight out and come out and say it, but prices are like $70 to $80 a carton right now. So there's no point in holding it back for any better market. This is as good a prices as growers will get. And the crazy thing about California avocados is consumers love them so much, and they're going to be out soon, that it's like their demand, it just won't change even if the prices get higher. 4th of July is coming up.
Sell them, right?
Yeah. I mean, 4th of July in a couple weeks normally is a big promotion day for California avocados, but they're not going to be cheap enough. And Mr. Bellamore didn't think that was going to matter. There's still high enough demand.
And Mexico hasn't come online. They're kind of finishing up their low season. So the market looks like it's pretty hot right now, and it probably will remain that way for a couple of weeks at least. But we'll keep an eye on it for sure.
Yeah, I'm hearing that probably until about mid-July when Mexico comes in with higher volume.
And that's not the only thing.
I can't let this go without bringing back my popular avocado prop.
I mean, I don't have an avocado prop here with me. I do have my pineapples though. So I'm representing pineapples.
Well, I want to hear about the CPS meeting this week, the food safety extravaganza. I know you've got a bunch of stories coming. You've written a few of them for the website, and you'll have more. What are some of your favorite bits from that?
So this was the 10th edition of the CPS Research Symposium, and it's not something that is on the radar of a lot of people in the produce industry because it's science. It's a symposium. It's a bunch of researchers presenting their papers, basically, their what updates of their research, and it can be kind of dry. I'm going to be honest. It's a little dry, but what is really fascinating to me is that the people that I talked to from the produce industry who were there found it fascinating. The questions that were coming in for the panels after we're sitting through almost 2 hours of panels. Each panel was almost that long. People were completely engaged and were asking meaningful questions of, basically, how can I take this research and move it right into the field? There were things like talking about stone fruit and the way that we pack on stone fruit lines, and we're using horsehair brushes, and actually the researchers are finding that horsehair is very porous, which is difficult to sanitize. So these are things that are very meaningful to people in the produce industry that you can take to heart right away. And the other part of it is that it's a really great place to make connections with these researchers so that if you have a need for data, or if you have a need for research, you can make a connection with someone who is looking to do some of this research right there. And we say it all the time. Produce is a relationship business. Well, so is the science community. And so bringing those two communities together only helps us all in the long run. So it was really fantastic to see that many people engaged and collaborating there.
I noticed the early stuff that you had out of there, like the first day, it seemed like some of the speakers were almost scolding the industry after kind of in the outbreak or the aftermath of the romaine outbreaks last year, saying the industry really needs to show that it's taking food safety seriously. Did you get some of that later in the conference too?
Yeah, we did. And we began and ended the symposium with panels where we had some big hitters in produce safety. Mike Taylor was one of them. Tim York was one of them. And we ended the symposium with a buyer panel from folks from Cisco and Yum Brands and Marcon and Wegmans. And at the beginning of the symposium, they talked about how in the meat industry, they can issue a recall, or they frequently do issue a recall after only 1 or 2 illnesses are connected to a meat commodity. And in produce, we don't get involved until there's dozens and dozens of people sick. And how are we so far behind? And that's kind of the challenge for the industry, is to catch up, to really get more stakeholders involved, especially from the buyer community, because the buyer community is the one that's really going to push this going forward, to require it of their suppliers, basically.
Okay, I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of your coverage.
And something I noticed while I was kind of tooling around on social media is something you're looking into, Greg. We've heard about it over the last couple of years, is Uber getting into trucking and transportation, and it popped up on my phone actually yesterday, targeted ads for produce trucking for Uber. And
I'd seen that too. And then, there was a Wall Street Journal story not more than a week or so ago, and they had sources in that story saying it looks kind of like Uber is getting into this market and getting in at lower levels than the companies already in the market, and undercutting them on price. And then, there are questions on whether or not it's profitable, and if it's not, how long will it take them to make a profit? And it's going to be something really interesting to look at. I have a couple interviews lined up in the next couple of days with some industry experts in transportation. I look forward to seeing their analysis. I saw those ads too, and one of them says, do you have trucks available for produce season? And it made me laugh, because produce season, that's what someone says who doesn't know anything about the produce industry. What is produce?
It made you send me that meme where it's Steve Buscemi and it's like, "What's up, fellow kids?" I feel like they're saying, "What's up, fellow truckers?" Okay. Well,
hello, industry members.
Industry
that's not a good look.
No, and it isn't. But we can't just immediately discount it, because look what Uber has done to public transportation. Look what they've done to the taxi industry. In most big cities, Uber has completely decimated the way things were. And they've done it
by improving the system. I mean, it's way better. So I laugh at Uber, but of course, you and I take it. So many people take it, and at all spectrums of digital knowledge. Certainly the taxi industry is not laughing at the way Uber does business.
Yeah, but for now, it's pretty funny.
For now, it's a little funny, and they're not taking on the taxi industry; they're taking on the transportation industry. The timing of it's good too, because in our July issue of Blueprints, our quarterly magazine here at Blue Book, we have a special supplement on transportation, and I did some of the reporting in it, and so it's something that is another angle on a huge issue to the produce industry.
And then now on to something a little more lighthearted. So I hear that today is National Bring Your Dog to Work Day, and I don't have a dog anymore. I have a cat. His name is Neymar. He doesn't exactly agree with hanging out with me on my desk, but you have a worker there at the office, don't you? Oh my God, we got you!
This is my 6-month-old dog, Raylan Gibbons.
He's adorable.
He does work in the office sometimes.
Neymar. He's like, no, I don't agree with you.
Well, Raylan's mid-nap, so he might just go back to it.
Oh. So happy National Bring Your Dog to Work Day. And that's the Produce Reporter Week in Review. See you next week.